In this dream, I was meeting a vast array of various individuals from quite the plethora of species, rather the assortment of races, from reptilians to cat people, and everything in between. I must have been pinging all over the cosmos. A busy night of real-side encounters and interactions. My objective was presenting the new, the references to the is, etc., and I was met with great success. My sharings were well received and widely accepted across all these species generally. But not only did I encounter those ready to accept the opportunity of the is, but I drew the attention of those who not only dismissed what I was presenting, but were vehemently opposed to it. It seems at one point I was met with an ill fate at the hands of those who do not want the is to be known. I was drowned on some planet or other, but at that point I was objectively viewing my demise. From this position now, I observed how all those individuals who had embraced the new presentation were not only the subject of ridicule and persecution from their respective races and species, but were hunted down, eliminated also, and those that survived this slaughter went into hiding. Full credit must I give for all who began their process of becoming more aware, despite all that transpired, and even as many were slain and pursued relentlessly across creation, they never wavered or faltered in their focus and recognition of their real intent. The final scene seemed to have jumped from these happenings to a moment in the future, and as it transpired, not only had all the individuals beginning their journey persisted with it, regardless of if they were still on the physical life level or having been passed on to the next position at the hands of others, but all those who had been responsible for the mass executions had come around also, and were now on their process also of becoming more aware and standing real with the is. Before I awoke, after a very busy night's activities, I was attacked by a few family members, as if there hadn't been enough attacks already. In the interests of tact, I won't mention their names. And so, I was doing my thing, playing my part, gallivanting across creation on the real side, and spreading and sharing the is to give others this golden opportunity, and thus my way is also earned more so, as I support the true light reality of the all is, and it in turn supports me in assistance of my awareness. most encouraging as to the extent to which many of the species were most agreeable to my sharings, and hopped on board most readily. I would suggest that these species evidently are not as subliminally controlled and programmed, and so rigidly locked in literalism. And if they are of a literal, personal persuasion, with references to the all is provided, they are very enthusiastic to see and know more. But of course, the dark forces come to bear. Their agents spread across the psych realms, and infecting every species and corner of the various universes and dimensions. What they can't suppress with technology on behalf of the Calorm, they do so by force, and this was demonstrated in the dream. I would suggest the sword far less effective in suppressing awareness, however, as despite being eliminated, practically all those I interacted with were adamant in their real intent and firm in their resolve to continue with their process of awareness, despite the hair, fur, and scale raising circumstances. And even when passing over, most maintained their focus and proceeded on undaunted, a testament to their determinations, courage, and risk-taking. At the point I was struck down also, I was continuing to be in contact with all these individuals, objectively regarding my demise. I was viewing then from my real self. This seemed to prove not a hindrance to my effectiveness. Seems then those I had reached had the awareness to connect with me beyond the physical, assuming they still were there, or on the life levels beyond. So, was this a glimpse into another dimension or lifetime where I was sharing in this regard and eliminated by the dark forces? As everything is now and in this moment, that includes every lifetime, past and future, and every dimension. So who knows whereabouts this occurred, where or when, as time only exists in creation anyway. Or it could have been just an attack on the real side, and being in a state of awareness, I was able to handle the situation, and although they believed me dispatched, I was far from it. So, the entire experience demonstrates that yes, many species across creation are very susceptible to the sharings of the is, very eager to receive the information and to put it into practice. And even in the face of oppositional adversary seeking to rob them of their opportunity, They are very strong in their real intent, conviction, and undaunted to a large degree. And finally, it is reinforced how everybody eventually, despite how dark a road they have chosen for themselves, even the most ardent of Callum supporters will someday begin their journey too. Yes, they have done all that they have, and they will have the corresponding cause and effect consequences, and the trials and tests to gauge carefully their intents and sincerity accordingly. But irrespective of what an individual has done, every moment is new, and at any moment, individuals can step into that new moment and choose a different direction, connect with the ears and the real guides, and begin their journey to be with the true reality. For stepping into the new nowness of the is with complete sincerity has us beyond karma now. The slate is wiped clean, and surely it's far better to get on with the process now than compound even more consequences, karmically speaking, that you would continue to amass by maintaining the disconnect from your real self and awareness. And for those family members who do get silly and try to intervene, my advice to them is pack it in. It's a futile effort and rather boring, to be fair. It exemplifies so once again how, if individuals are not connected to their real selves beyond creation, then they can be programmed and controlled within it, and potentially be activated like assassins, little Callum agent pawns, and they may be oblivious to the fact they are used thus. Through awareness can be how we get a measure of control over all our vehicles that are in the psych realms, by first being aware of them, then getting them under control and on board, ideally, with our focus on awareness and being with the ease. As a side note, just before going to bed that night, I was editing my Dream Explorers Part 7 and the Dreams Incorporated Reptilians. As I finished, I spent a little time reading on the internet about all the various alien species across creation, as I always did find otherworldly beings of great fascination. It seemed then to have been the catalyst for my going off on the real side and meeting many of the species I had researched, and many others besides. So it's a reminder that what we engage in just before sleep can have a bearing on our real side activities. I find if I indulge in something of a personal nature only, like watching TV, I'm less likely to have experiences of a more awareness productive kind, and the opposite holds true also. reading new books, or editing some videos that provide a benefit awareness speaking will open up the real side to a greater extent. That, or it's not the experiences that are different, but the connection to my awareness that the activities I do before bed provide. So the activities do provide a focus and enhanced recognition on the real side to facilitate bringing back these escapades more effectively. So always when we dream, there are effectively two dreams going on. One which is at the forefront, the one that the literal personal self can only see, but one behind it from which the dream in the forefront stems from. Just like how creation is at the forefront and the is the reality from which it stems from. And it is awareness recognition of this reality that allows us to see what the dream actually is demonstrating, what is behind the surface of the dream, just as it is with creation and the all is. And so, if our focus is diminished, the awareness connection slightly lacking, the recognition then is reduced, and we may see less of what the dream is demonstrating, and maybe to the extent of only the surface part of it. And that's the end of that one.
Well, that was terrific, Kevin. Very well said. And yes, while we're in creation and on this little planet going wherever, so-called outskirts are all dark, and that shows you the unawareness that's there, and all the individuals here. It's like being in the womb of life, and this is where things start to cook, you might say, and become so. And yes, eventually, just like a childbirth, we eventually emerge and see the real light, but we have to decide to, yes, go through the process. That's why I didn't call it a program or a teaching or anything like that, because this is where, and especially with the systems here and the governments and that, they have their programs, and because people are programmed, and teachings are of a particular, they teach people certain things, but they're limited to themselves, and it's an ongoing process to eventually, to where you recognize more so. But this is what people don't realize, that all that darkness out there that's called outer space is actually their unawareness. And the black holes in the galaxy are part of that too, where people, agree to the unawareness in a magnified version, and all of a sudden there becomes black holes. So in the meantime, we do have this adventure with everybody trying to figure out something and survive what's going on. So it's a new view. So, but the general public looks to science for the answers. It's like in going into outer space with spacesuits and all this technical stuff and all this very complex things, thinking that, oh, okay, that's the answer. Well, when it's really not, it's your real awareness, and you see that. So you tell these adventures excellent. They're really excellent. Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Dwayne.